Hey polish fans, it's Caroline again and welcome to another video here at Wild Wind Lacquer. In today's video we are sticking with the fall theme and this time we are doing Essie fall polishes. So as you guys are probably tired of hearing already, fall is my favorite season, so I have brought out a lot of fall polishes, and for this video I did break it down into just the Essie polishes, and to be perfectly honest, not all of these I think are going to make it to my ultimate fall rack. However, I did want to share these with you because they are mainstream. Some of them are probably easier to find than the indies that I've shared with you, and there's some really beautiful fall colors here. So let's go ahead and get started. I have sort of lined them up in kind of a color order, although I did add a couple in between after I had swatched most of the swatch wheel. So you'll see that I'm not completely perfect on the color aspects, but in any case, let's jump right into one of my favorite color categories for fall, and that is the smoky grayed out purples. This one is Merino Cool. I have yet to wear this and I'm really excited to try this. I love these colors, sort of this grayed out purple. I love all the ranges of this type of color, from a bit more gray to a bit lighter to even as dark as this one here, which we'll get to in a second. I just really love this color range. I'm a purple fan in general, but somehow these smoky tones in just cream formulas even are just really appealing to me. So this is what that one looks like in 2 coats. It is a beautiful color, a little bit dark. Probably for this type of color, I would say it's about a mid-range, not really dark, but not a light gray purple either. Really beautiful again for fall, as are all of these, but it's just a really beautiful color and pretty much a classic. One of the colors that I first think of for Essie fall polishes is Merino Cool, so that was that. The second one is one of their polishes that dries to this sort of a velvet finish. I think they're calling it a cashmere matte finish, and this one is called Coat Couture. This one looks so beautiful in the bottle, you guys. I think this would look beautiful with a top coat as well. I did let it dry though into its natural state in a matte finish, and here's what that looks like in 2 coats. Really beautiful color. It is in that same family of grayed out purples in the base. However, as you can see, it's got a beautiful blue shimmer running throughout it, and that really pops against the dustier base of this polish. I think it's really lovely. As I said, you could put a top coat on it if you don't like how it looks matte, but I think it looks really beautiful and unique compared to the other finishes that most of these dry to. So I thought that was a beautiful addition to these smoky purples that I've been sharing with you. And just look at it in the bottle. So gorgeous. Definitely cannot wait to try this one. And again, that one was Coat Couture. Next up, sticking with our smoky purples, this one's going a little bit darker. This one is called Winning Streak, and this is, well, a deeper version of that smoky purple gray. Just to show you a side-by-side bottle shot, you can tell that Winning Streak is a lot darker than Merino Cool, so they are very different polishes from each other. Here's what Winning Streak looks like in 2 coats. And as you can see on the swatch wheel here as well, it is definitely a darker color. Still a purple vibe though. Really love this one. It is right up my alley as far as these kinds of colors. I mean, all of these are, to be honest. They're all just really gorgeous. This one almost has a little bit more of a blue lean to it, which is very interesting for this shade of color, but only by comparison. I'm sure if you were to compare it to a blue, it's going to still look very purple, but that one was Winning Streak. And then lastly, in the cream formulas for these smoky purples is this one called Smokin' Hot, another classic and another one that I have yet to wear, so I really do need to add this to my rack for this year. This is really beautiful. This is the darkest of these Essie smoky purples. Here's what it looks like in 2 coats. I will say I think I had a bit of trouble with the formula on my nail wheel here, so you will see a little bit of patchiness, or you might see a little bit of patchiness. I think it is dark enough that maybe you won't, but in person I can see just a little bit of patchiness on that nail. I think because it is a darker color, it might not be as noticeable, depending of course on how streaky it ended up. But like I said, I think that was mainly my sloppy swatching on these, but I think I can sort of see it a little bit more with the light shining through, maybe. In any case, that one was 2 coats of Smokin' Hot. Now we're getting into some more exciting finishes. This one is For the Twill of It, and this is a beautiful multi-chrome. This is a shift between sort of a smoky greenish teal with a lot of gray and then flashes of this fuchsia purple. For a mainstream brand, I think this is a really beautiful option. Look at the purple flash there. This is such a gorgeous color. This was one that I had eyed for a long time before I finally ended up getting it. And to be perfectly honest, I don't remember where I got this one. Although usually when I look for Essies now, I go to Trans Design. That's one of the first places I usually look. Their selection is really good and their prices are about half of what you would pay retail. So really good bargains there. I've also found Essies in places like grocery outlets, so that's always worth a try. I'm not saying that they always have them. Everything at grocery outlet is, you know, as it comes. And often as fast as it comes, it's out the door. But it is one of those places that you can find nail polish, Essie being one of the brands that I have found there. So keep your eye out there if you're interested in looking for Essies at a discount. So here is what For the Twill of It looks like in 2 coats. Really beautiful color here. I think the warm flashes are the strongest in this color. You see the beautiful warm fuchsia flash there. And then the other color that you're going to see probably in like direct lighting is going to be that sort of grayed out teal gray, if that makes any sense. It's very pretty. So that was For the Twill of It. Next up is I think the only gray in this Essie fall rack, and this one is called Social Lights. And I thought this was really beautiful for fall. It is this light to mid-tone gray, and look at how loaded it is with this beautiful warm shimmer. It shifts between gold and orange. Really beautiful, very warm for fall. Here's what that looks like in 2 coats. Again, just a really nice warm color for fall, even though you've got that gray base. I think this could look really beautiful as a backdrop for some fall nail art. So that was 2 coats of Social Lights. Next up is the only blue that I pulled out for the fall rack. I thought that there was a couple other colors besides that that Essie had that were in that smoky blue range, but none that I could find in my collection. So if you could think of any, let me know down below. But this one is called Beautiful Horizon, and it is a beautiful smoky blue, and again loaded with shimmer. Look at that beautiful warmth. This one I cannot wait to wear. Here's what it looks like in 2 coats. Keep in mind this is without a top coat, but I love the finish on this one. I think it's so beautiful, very shimmery. That shimmer in here really stands out on the nail. It definitely shows up. And again, that one was 2 coats of Beautiful Horizon. Next is the only green. This one is called Exposed. I thought this was rather a unique shade of green. It is somewhere between like a sage and like olive drab green, maybe almost like a tea green. It's very interesting. It is just a cream polish, so there's nothing special going on necessarily, but it is a beautiful color. Here's what it looks like in 2 coats. The formula on this one was really beautiful. Love how this turns out on the nail. Sort of grayed out color, but it is definitely still a green. And then just to compare it to one of the Zoyas that I had, actually maybe we'll compare it to a couple of the Zoyas. This one here does have a shimmer in it, but it is a similar type of green. This one is called Gemma. As you can see, Gemma is definitely a lot of a brighter green by comparison. There's a lot more gray in Exposed. Another one that I had on my Zoya rack is called Evie. This one is more green as well. Definitely still more gray in Exposed. but there's just a little bit of a comparison. And then just one more comparison to the greens that I've got on my rack so far. This one is L'Oreal's Safari Chic, and this one is maybe the closest, but it's definitely not even close to being a dupe. There's definitely still way more gray in Exposed, and of course the L'Oreal also has that subtle shimmer going throughout it. So they're two very different polishes, but hopefully that'll give you a little bit of an idea about how this will look compared to some that you might have in your collection of these types of greens. So that again was 2 coats of Exposed. Next is another one in their Cashmere Matte collection. This one is called Comfy in Cashmere. I sort of had to include this just because of the name, and I thought it was a really beautiful polish. This one is in this very interesting range of mix between like a taupey grayish and almost a nude pink. And then what makes this one very interesting is the contrasting shimmer that's in here. I see blues and purples, a little bit of teal. I think this one might be a bit harder to capture on camera, but it's definitely there. And then this is what it looks like in 2 coats. With Essie's matte formulas, I do have a harder time working with them. This one I can still see a bit of patchiness in it, but again, if you're careful and you aren't as sloppy as I am, you might be able to get this opaque enough for you in 2 coats. I just think it's a really beautiful color. It is definitely more on the neutral side than some of the other colors, but not boring because it has that really interesting chalkboard or cashmere finish, and then that really beautiful shimmer. And of course, if you don't like that finish, you could always add a top coat, and then it's going to look more like what it is in the bottle. Again, really beautiful and fairly unique as well, especially in this sort of neutral color. So that was Comfy in Cashmere. Then we've got, I think, the only holographic Essie polish in definitely in this fall rack, if not in my collection. This one is You're a Gem. I still need to track down more from this collection because I really do like this one. But look at this gorgeous holographic from Essie. Isn't this beautiful? This is still sort of in that neutrally range. It's a little bit of like a caramel brown, full of holographic. It's really, really beautiful. I love how this looks. Really, really nice. And this is one of their newer bottles. So what I really appreciated when I was swatching was the brush. You'll hear me say all the time that I like the wider brushes, and this has a really, really nice brush. So I really enjoyed the application using this brush, and it's definitely one that I prefer compared to their narrow brushes. And here's what it looks like dried in 2 coats. This is without a top coat too, you guys. Once you put a top coat on this, this is just going to be fire. Cannot wait to wear this one. This one I'm really excited about. I think this too would look amazing with some fall nail art, maybe some stickers or stamping. But love that one. I just love the holographic flair to this. So, so beautiful. So that again was You're a Gem. Next up is another sort of neutral, this time in a cream. This is called Clothing Optional. This is sort of a deep neutral pink. My bottle has a bit of ugly bottle syndrome going on, so excuse that, but this is more of what it would look like on your nails. And what I found interesting is it does dry darker. So here's what it looks like in 2 coats. Just to give you a little comparison, at least it seems darker to me on that nail than it does in the bottle, but it's a really beautiful color. It is, again, sort of a neutral pink with maybe a little bit of brown in it. Really gorgeous color, very office appropriate as well. The formula on this one was pretty good as well. I don't remember if this was one that had the nicer brush. No, it doesn't. There were a couple in here that did have the nicer brush, but in any case, that is what that one looks like in 2 coats, and another one that I'm really excited to wear. I just think these colors are so beautiful and very versatile. So that was Clothing Optional. Now we're getting into some of the deeper tones. This one is called Very Structured, and this is so beautiful. This one is actually another one that is darker on the nail than it is in the bottle. I feel in the bottle it's sort of this mid-range terracotta. However, on the nail, I feel like it dries at least a shade darker than it looks in the bottle, but really gorgeous color. This one leans a little bit on the red side, like a brown leaning red. It is really gorgeous. Another one that I can't wait to try. I feel like I'm saying that for nearly every single one, but it's a really beautiful cream formula. So that one was very structured. Now we're getting into more of the oranges. This one is Rocky Rose. I think this one came out in the 2019 collection. I could be mistaken, but this is such a beautiful orange. This one is a little bit on the pink side from in this color family. It's really gorgeous. I think the closest one that I already have in my nail polish rack to this might be Zoya's Kate. And they're actually pretty darn close. So let me grab the bottle and just do a side-by-side comparison. In the bottle, you can see a slight difference. Kate is a little bit more pink leaning, while Rocky Rose is a little bit more orange leaning, but they're very, very close. So if you didn't have Kate and you were hoping to add that to your collection for fall, you could pull out Rocky Rose and it would be very, very, very close. As you can see here, this is Kate on the swatch ring, and this one is Rocky Rose. So they aren't identical. I think Kate might have a little bit more white in it, just a hair, but they're very, very close. So that was a little sidetrack. And just to show it on my nails without Zoe in there, here's what it looks like in 2 coats. Again, I love this kind of shade. Kate also was pretty impressive to me as well. This tone is very, very beautiful. That again was Rocky Rose. Now we're getting into a darker shade of orange. This one is Yes I Canyon. I was super, super excited to get these. It is one of those beautiful burnt oranges that I have been absolutely loving for fall. I feel like even though I had quite a lot of oranges in 2020, I don't feel like I wore that many. I mean, I'll have to go back and check my Instagram, but I don't think I wore as many as I felt like I could have. Here it is in 2 coats. As you can see, it is darker than Rocky Rose, which is over here. This one almost has a little bit more red in it. It's definitely a beautiful burnt orange color. And like I said, one that I'm very excited to wear this fall. I'm really hoping to get around to this one. So that was Yes I Canyon. Next is an even darker orange. This one is Playing Coy. This one is so gorgeous. This one I think has a little bit more yellow in it than the other ones did. It's a very dark color by comparison as well. And here's what that one looks like in 2 coats. I think comparisons have been made between this one and OPI's It's a Piazza Cake, which I don't think I have actually. But that is a really gorgeous deep burnt orange color. And again, one that I'm really excited to wear this year. I hope I get around to a lot more than I think I'm going to be getting around to. One of the ideas that I'm playing around with, and actually I think I will do it, is I'm probably going to be wearing my fall rack into winter. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm excited to try that. I will, of course, still pull a winter rack. However, my winter rack is probably going to be a lot more condensed so that I can still play around with these. And a lot of these can transition into winter. I think at least 4 or 5 of this top row and some of these reds can transition into that winter season. So we'll have to see how that goes. But I'm excited to give it a try. So that was Playing Coy. Then my one and only Essie in the Gel Couture line. This one is called Head to Topaz. This is another really beautiful orange. Just to show you side by side to Playing Coy, Head to Topaz has a little bit more white in it. This one is definitely more of that brighter tone in this color family. And here is what this one looks like. That is Head to Topaz. This is really, really beautiful. These two, I think, of the ones on this color wheel are the most similar to each other. They're definitely not dupes though. Like I said, the Head to Topaz has a little bit more white in it by comparison, but they are sort of similar to each other in that same burnt orange color family. Both are gorgeous. So this one I'm really excited to wear as well. I forgive the fuzz. I had some accidents with some fuzz on my swatch nails there, but really gorgeous color. That one was Head to Topaz. Now we're getting into our reds. I know, right? I have reds on my rack. Who am I? Reds are one of those colors that I really don't wear all that often, but this one in particular does to me fall kind of firmly in between a red and these burnt oranges. So just to compare it to the last one, as you can see, it definitely is like a whited out burgundy, but it fits very beautifully into these fall burnt colors that I like. Of course, in the more red leaning color. And this one is Bedrock and Roll. This one came out in the same collection as Rocky Rose. So like I said, this one is a little bit more on the red leaning side. And here is what that looks like in 2 coats. Really beautiful. This is a red I can absolutely get behind. This one is a color that I have worn something similar to it in the past and really enjoyed it. So I cannot wait to try this one. I think this one might end up being a favorite. I wore Pure Ice something Vogue. It might have been like In Vogue or something last fall, and I absolutely loved it. And it was in this same color family of these orangey burnt reds. Really gorgeous. So that one was Bedrock and Roll. Now we're getting into one that actually turned out to be a little bit more of the berry tone than I thought it would be. This one was called Wrapped in Rubies, and this one is another in a beautiful metallic sort of finish. It is full of gold shimmer. This is very beautiful and nice and vampy. And like I said, on the nail it came off a bit more berry toned in that first coat than I was expecting it to be. But once you put that second coat, it's definitely a beautiful rich red. And that shimmer in there looks really beautiful. It lends itself more to the metallic finish than it does a contrasting shimmer. But I'm okay with that. If you wanted the gold to pop a little bit more, you could just add a gold topper. But I think that's really beautiful. And again, that was Wrapped in Rubies. And then I've got a true red cream. This one is called Forever Yummy. You may have seen me haul this within the last month, I think, and I decided that I did want to go ahead and add this to my fall rack. Red is actually one of the trending colors for fall of 2021, and when I saw this particular shade of red, I thought I could give it a go. Red, this type of red is definitely not one that I wear very often. I think I may have even mentioned in one of my other videos that I can't even remember the last time that I wore a red like this. Most of the reds that I end up pulling up are definitely more in the burgundy side of things, somewhere between these 2 shades here. But I thought that this one was a really gorgeous color, and it is a deeper tone, so I thought that this would be something that would be easy enough to work into my nail polish rotation without being too far out there for colors that I'm not familiar with wearing. But that I thought was a beautiful shade, and again, that one was Forever Yummy. And then the last Essie polish that I'm sharing for my fall nail polish rack is this one called Toggle to the Top. This one always surprises me when I swatch it because it is another one that's kind of like this one in that the base of it is a little bit more berry toned than I always expect. On my nail swatch, it seems like it's going to be like a blackened red, and then you've got that beautiful glitter popping out of it. And here it is in 2 coats. This one is with a top coat. I think this is one that could definitely benefit from a glitter eating top coat because it still has a little bit of texture after that first top coat. But this one, like I was saying, on that first coat was a bit more berry toned than I was expecting. But it's a really gorgeous shade. This one is, it's just beautiful. I almost was considering getting rid of this based on how this swatch was looking when I did my nail polish rack declutter last year, and I'm really glad that I kept it. I think I want to give this one a good try, wear it on my nails, see if I like it, because it really seems like it's got promise. It has such beautiful glitter in it. I think this one probably would benefit from a peel off base coat as well because it is a glitter bomb, but again, a really gorgeous color. So that again was Toggle to the Top. And there you have it. Those are the Essies that I'm sharing for fall 2021. Let me know down below if I missed any, if there's any other Essie polishes that you have in your collection that are gotta wears for this year. I know I don't have any from this year. I've sort of been
averting my eyes for fall releases because there have been so many, and like I've been saying in all of my other fall videos, I have a lot of fall polishes that I've pulled out, so I've been sort of trying to shop my stash instead of buying all the fall polishes out there. But if there's any that I gotta see, let me know down below and I will definitely check them out. I always love your suggestions, and if you aren't already subscribed, think about hitting that little subscription button down below as well as the little bell. That way you won't miss out on any of my new videos. Thanks so much for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in that next video.